Who are you?
John Barclay.
You
Oh,
look different.
I look totally different
Don't
with
look
these
like you.
glasses,
What's
don't
going on?
I?
Oh, new glasses.
New glasses, yeah. Well,
Oh,
different. I realized I hadn't changed them in the last 8 sessions. I same shirt. You have the same shirt, same guy. Anyway, we do try to change up those backgrounds. I gotta believe that's fooling everybody.
yeah.
Nobody's noticing at all that we wear the same stuff.
It's not like anyone binge watches these videos and sees the same shirt. We probably
Yeah.
try, we fool them.
Well, I think Roger does. Roger said he's been binge watching
Yeah.
all of us.
What was that rude comment again? Picking on me, my facial
No
expression
kidding.
watching you.
Yeah, he said, go back and watch Cole's expressions. They're priceless. I need to do that still. And what he loved about that episode is that I talked more than you did. We could both talk. Hey, something that we hear often, actually, there seems to be this group of photographers out there who say, I'm just not creative. I'm not an artistic person. That's why I chose to be a photographer. Isn't that interesting? Chose photography because I don't think I'm creative. I chose photography, because it's easier. It's an easier
It's a
thing.
technical art. That's what I believe. That's why I got into it. It
Yeah.
was a technical art. It depended more on techniques than it did on creativity. I believed that for most of my photographic life.
Yeah.
It's so common. I hear so many people who, like Roger, say, I'm not creative.
Boy, we've had a
Well,
lengthy
maybe you are,
discussion.
but I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've had a lengthy discussion with Roger about that. And I think we've made some progress, because I mean, when you look at his project for the war memorial stuff, it's phenomenal. It's incredibly creative, right? But so that gets back to something, and this probably sounds repetitive to some of you, but Cole and I feel pretty strongly that we're going to keep bringing this topic up, every couple of months, because it seems like there's so many people out there, Cole and I included, right? We were in this group. Mine was a little different, the way I said it. I would say, I can't even draw stick figures, for crying out loud. Really? Me be a creative photographer? That's ridiculous. It's
Mhm.
not possible. I mean, I equated with having to be able to draw, being
Mhm.
able, that meant that
Me
hey, if
too.
I could draw something really well, then hey, I could do photography.
Yeah.
And I said, and I was one of those that, well, if I can't do that, I might as well be a photographer, right? But isn't that funny? We think photography is just, and it can be just a very technical, press a button and get perfectly exposed images. But our message today through this episode really is about the fact that we're born creative. Period. No, there's no more discussion necessary. We're born creative. We've had a previous show, and again, for those who haven't watched all of our shows, lame, you should watch all of our shows. So go back and watch them. We talked about, this concept that everybody is, and then we get schooled out of being, right? We almost get taught not to be creative.
And
Um,
then we tend to work in technical fields, maybe as using math or using, technical things. We're an accountant or, and so that reinforces that we're not creative. But that's what drew me to photography again back in around the turn of the century. I had been in this very technical, numbers oriented career, just reinforced that I wasn't creative.
yeah.
And digital had come out, and I was just so unhappy at work. I needed a creative outlet. And so that kind of what was drew me back into photography. I needed some balance in my life. And fortunately, I had a mentor who said, you can be creative. Everyone's
Wow.
creative. Verid, if she's watching. And she just would not let me be. She just kept saying, try to be creative. So I was
Same.
fortunate to have that mentor.
Yeah, Nancy Rotenberg was my mentor, who, she came along and said, yes, you are a creative person. And I looked at her and said, you're crazy. I'm not. I know how to use a camera and you're teaching me how to do that. I just didn't see it. But she was persistent, and I'm so grateful for her.
Now Nancy knew you and Vera knew me, but what about people who are sitting at home and saying, well, how can you say I'm creative when you don't even know me? You've not seen my work. I know it because everybody is creative.
Yep.
We may not have exercised those muscles. I didn't as a child. We didn't have the money for any art classes or music lessons or things like that.
Right.
So I grew up just thinking it wasn't there. I just didn't exercise those muscles.
So let me ask you this, and I hope I don't catch you off guard here, but so what does creativity look like? What can you share? Because I don't know if I can answer this in a really succinct way. But what can you share? What does creativity have to look like that picture behind you right now? Is that what it has to look like? Does it have to look like my infrared photograph? What does creativity look like?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone can judge that but the person who's creating.
Because what I'm thinking is somebody's going to say, well, okay, you've inspired me with this episode to go out and be creative. What are they going to do that? And I think I have an answer. You're just going to go create with no rules in sight, no expectations, no intentions. And we had somebody have a conversation in one of the shows that made a comment about the difference between intentions and expectations. And I do think there is a subtle difference there. And I wrote that to the commentator. But I would say in this case, exercise the creative muscle, meaning you're just going to go out and here's what you're going to do. This will get you started. You're going to do what Freeman Patterson taught me to do. You're going to put the camera on a strap around your neck and you're just going to jump up and down. And you're going to trip the shutter as you're jumping up and down. And then if you want, you're going to go like this and you're going to trip the shutter and see what happens. And you're going to go like that, right? You're going to play. Think that you've got a box of whatever it was, 52 or whatever crayons, 56 crayons or 50, whatever was in that big box. And you've got a brand new set of crayons, you've got a blank piece of paper, and you're just going to play. Same thing. You're going to do that with your camera with no intentions for good, bad, none of that. And just try to express happy, try to express sad, try to
And
express.
don't think at the end of the afternoon, if there's nothing of value or anything you like, you failed. It's, it's the value of failure is you're trying things that don't work. Now you know what not to try next time. For me, the playing was finding my vision, being able to push out of my mind all the preconceived ideas about how I should photograph. And so I just did what I wanted to do.
There you go.
Everyone said that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
tough question. What does creativity look like? I don't know. How would you define that? How would you say it?
Well, the reason I asked it, and this is where I was trying to get to, and maybe we haven't done a good job, but let's think about that, and maybe we discuss this in the future. If they go out and make an image in Sparks Lane that ends up looking similar to mine, is that a creative moment for them?
It may or may not be. If they're imitating, it certainly isn't.
Is it right? But if you showed up at Cades Cove on your own and have never seen an image from Cades Cove, and you happen to make the same image as mine, it's a totally creative moment. That is creative. No question. So the takeaway needs to be just that. Stop judging and comparison. Remember Teddy Roosevelt, comparison is the thief of joy. Stop doing that and just go create. And so I think that's what it looks like. It looks like whatever you do that day.
Yeah,
Not being influenced by anybody or anything else or other images. Just go create and play and see what happens. And then evaluate that with no expectations about getting something good or bad. Just evaluate it.
I asked this question the other day on one of my social media posts. If you were to create something and no one else loved it, what would your response be?
Yeah.
Would it be, oh, wow, I must have done something wrong. Oh, this must not be a good image. Or would it be more along the lines, well, it's a shame no one else loves it, but I sure do.
Yeah. I hope it's the last one.
Yeah, that's to me the measure of creativity is that you love it.
Absolutely.
Regardless.
For sure.
Well, that was a deep question. I still don't know if I could
Well,
answer it really
Well,
well.
I think we've skimmed on the surface of an answer, but comments below. Ring the bell.
What does that mean?
Well, if they ring the bell, I think that means they'll get notifications every time a new episode comes up, right? So if they hit the bell, they don't have to remember to go watch us. And that's
Oh,
why
oh,
there's 650 people out there who never watch us. They never
they
rang
didn't
the
ring the
bell.
bell.
Yeah, ring the darn bell. Tell your friends, tell your photo clubs to watch us. We need to get up to 810 before the end of this episode. Cole, as usual, I think this is the last one we're going to do today.
Okay, we'll see. You're heading to the Palouse?
Yep, heading to the Palouse. There's no moose loose in the Palouse, although that's not true. I saw 2 moose loose in the Palouse last year.
Why are 2 moose meese?
They're not.
Should be.
There's 2 mice are mices.
Oh, wait, mice, meese.
How could you
moose,
confuse that?
meese.
Mices, they're this big. A moose is gigantic, and you call them
a mice. Mice, oh, is it mice and mices?
mices.
Mises? How come it's not moose and mises? Or mooses. How would you say that?
What is
Anyway.
is it a gaggle of geese?
A murder of crows.
A bevy of quail?
A bevy.
I think that's wrong.
A gaggle of idiots.
I'm
Okay, goodbye.
I'm going to get called out on that one, just like I don't know color portrait photographers.
Oh my gosh.
See ya.